SABC News Correspondent Blake Sifton, who is live for us in Dubai. Blake, a very good afternoon to you. So a number of developments today with that briefing that we saw earlier on in the Pentagon by U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, in the main saying that the U.S. and Israel would achieve complete control over Iranian airspace in the coming days. So as the conflict, which has now entered its fifth day, give us a sense of how these U.S. and Israeli strikes and the retaliation that we saw from Iran are now playing out at regional level.
Good afternoon, Unati. That's right. We heard from U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. He used quite bellicose language. He said, as you say, that the U.S. and Israel will soon have air superiority over Iran. And he said once they do, they will carry out bombing day and night, and they will bring death, destruction from the sky all day long. And we are seeing that essentially now. Israel today said that they broadened and expanded their air campaign against Tehran. They said this was the 10th wave of attacks they have carried out against Iran. Meanwhile, of course, we are still seeing quite a bit of Iranian response and Iranian attacks on its neighbors in the Gulf. Saudi Arabia said that the Ras Tanura oil refinery came under attack from drones, though there was no damage sustained. Qatar and the UAE also intercepted a number of drones and ballistic missiles. In Kuwait, authorities said an 11-year-old girl died from falling debris from an interception of either a missile or a drone. And we've had more attacks off the coast of Oman in the Strait of Hormuz, that vital waterway between Oman and Iran, where a fifth of the world's oil supply travels. There was 2 attacks on oil tankers recorded there. So attacks are continuing in each front of this war and from each side.
Yeah. And then, Blake, give us a sense then in terms of just when we speak about the latest on the ground, how aviation routes, shipping lanes, even through the Strait of Hormuz, as we've heard, and the regional energy exports are being impacted at the moment, given to just some of the sentiments that we heard, earlier on from that Pentagon address.
Well, that's right. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps says that they have shut down the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. military says that's not true, but the vast majority of shipping is not crossing Hormuz. The Reuters news agency said they tracked a single ship making that trip in recent days. Now, President Trump has suggested that perhaps the U.S. Navy could accompany oil tankers that wish to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It's unclear if any will take them up on that offer. We need to remember that Iran has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz for decades whenever there was talk about war, wider war. And they've really dedicated, the IRGC has dedicated their Navy, their preparations, not on large conventional ships, but on small attack craft, on maritime drones, essentially kamikaze or suicide boats, as well as anti-shipping missiles. So it's unclear whether the U.S. military and Navy, with all its might, could actually guarantee the safety of these oil tankers and whether they will take them up on the offer of protection.
As we wrap our conversation very quickly, Blake, I mean, with no signs of a ceasefire and now with the Trump administration signaling that their strikes against Iran could take as long as necessary, what are regional analysts also on the ground, telling you in the Gulf about the risk of this conflict widening even further than what we are currently seeing?
So given all the events, I don't think anyone expects a quick solution to this is around the corner. And I should mention there's a serious escalation in Lebanon. That's probably the largest and most dramatic story of the day. The Israeli military has ordered the evacuation of all of southern Lebanon. They've ordered all civilians to move north of the Litani River in the area which essentially is referred to as southern Lebanon, and which has been a Hezbollah stronghold. They've been striking that area almost every day since the November 2024 before ceasefire with Hezbollah was reached. And they've maintained a position, 5 locations just within the border on kind of dominant hilltop positions in Lebanese territory. But as of yesterday, they actually pushed into Lebanon in some kind of ground incursion. Today, they've advanced. We understand they are 6 kilometers into Lebanon. We understand there has been clashes on the ground with Hezbollah. At least 2 Israeli soldiers, a tank crew, have been injured by Hezbollah fire. So there is ground fighting in Lebanon. And the Israeli military is pushing civilians north. Whether that's a precursor to a fuller, larger, wider invasion is unclear. Meanwhile, they are carrying out bombing across Lebanon, in the southern suburbs of Beirut, in Baalbek in the east, in Sidon. And Hezbollah themselves are returning fire into Israel. There's been an increasing number, really, of rocket and drone attacks. It started slowly the last few days, but it is picking up. And Israeli authorities are saying that they believe that Hezbollah and Iran are actually timing their volleys of ballistic missiles from Iran and rockets and drones from Hezbollah to arrive concurrently in order to overwhelm Israeli air defenses.
All right, Blake, thank you so much for that update. Blake Sifton live for us in Dubai as we continue, of course, to monitor all of those vantage points from this particular conflict.